Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be talking about investing in order to beat inflation. As you know, Singapore's core inflation in July just came out and it shows a rise of 4.8%, driven by higher prices of food, electricity and gas. So imagine year on year 4.8% increase. So if your cash is in the bank or even in your CPF OA, you are still not able to beat the inflation. So in my opinion, this is a very important time that people actually consider investing, especially in stocks that or REITs that are very stable and can give a good return. Moreover, with the recent volatilities in the market ongoing greens and red, I'm sure that there will be good opportunities for you to buy at a very good dividend yield. So in REITs, there's an industry that is very stable, as good as data centers. So nowadays, a lot of people order through online e-commerce. So people buy through Shopee and Lazada, and there's a lot of deliveries here and there. So where do all these logistics from overseas that arrives in Singapore comes to? And that is distribution centers, and these distribution centers requires space, and these space are classified as logistic sectors. So you guessed it, today I'll be talking about logistic REITs that, in my opinion, are very stable, provided that of course the management must be good, and based on their reports it must have a good occupancy rate. So in this video I'll share with you 3 logistic REITs that you can consider that can be kept for potential returns or higher returns in the future, or your CPF. Okay, so there are a lot of important things to take note when investing in REITs. In order to make sure that it's not overvalued, it's always important to take note of the dividend yield. Some REITs, if you notice, might have higher dividend yield, while some REITs have a lower dividend yield. However, there are a lot of factors to take into account, which makes the difference in their dividend yield. Some REITs with lower dividend yield is because they are more stable and they are safer in public's opinion. So that's where you have to take all this into account. However, even though the REIT's dividend yield might be low, it's also about 4.5% and above, which is still very attractive as compared to putting it in savings account. Okay, so let's get right into our very first REIT. That is one of my most confident REITs out of all the 3. The first one is Mapletree Logistic Trust. So Mapletree Logistic Trust is one of the pioneer batches of the REITs, and it has been around for a very long time. It has been founded since 2004 and has consistently performed well throughout this period. Shareholders holding this REIT not only appreciate their capital gain, but also the constant increase in dividend yield if they do not sell, and maintaining the original share price in the past. Currently, at a share price of $1.76, their estimated yield is about 5.1%. Although, as I said before, although they are considered one of the safer REITs, their dividend yields tend to be lower. However, 5.1% is still a very attractive value. So let's look at their portfolio. So under their assets under management of 13 billion, if you look at the different countries of buildings that they have, is very diversified, which is a very good thing because it means that there is a lot of buffers in the event if any of one of the countries are being affected, but their revenues will not get as affected as compared to REITs that are concentrated in certain countries. So for logistic REITs, their occupancy rates are expected to be high. If they are not as high, means that something is wrong. If you look at this chart for Mapletree Logistic Trust, it has almost 100% for every country except for China, which is at 93.1 or 92.9%. However, this is not to be of a concern to me because logistics, as I said before, are getting more and more demand. Their top 10 tenants, as you see from this chart, is quite diversified, with the highest of only 6.3%. So in the event if any of these major tenants or customers actually drops out, it does not really affect the distributable income that is able to provide to shareholders. And one of the things I like about Mapletree Logistic Trust that the management always brags about is how diversified their tenant base are. As you can see from this picture, where there is so many different trade sectors, with only F&B and consumer staples more than 20%, whereas for the rest, as you can see, is less than 10%. So let's look at their financial results. So for the key highlights, their gross revenue increased 14.6% year over year, while their NPI, which is the net profit income, increased by 13.2% year on year. However, their DPU actually only increased by 5% year over year, although it's not bad, but if you look at the increase in the revenue, there's a difference in the percentage. So this is actually because when they purchase a building, they have to issue shares in order to buy the building itself. So that's why this actually causes a difference, because more shares means that the DPU will not increase as much, even though there is an increase. The management is also very nice to actually include the acquisition completed in Q1 and the active portfolio rejuvenation in the slides together in one. Next, we'll look at their debts. So they have a aggregate leverage of 37.2%, which is quite decent because there's still a gap from 50%. Moreover, their debts, 80% of their debts are actually into fixed rate, which is actually a good thing, because based on the current situation where the interest rate is expected to increase a lot, this will help to mitigate the increase temporarily. Moreover, if you notice that their income stream for the next 12 months are hedged into SGD, is 73%. This is a very important thing, because for MLT, as you can see from the different countries building, it's important for them to hedge to SGD. Because of the increase in the SGD power from the MAS, this actually causes the amount of money taken from overseas to be lesser, because overseas currency drops as compared to SGD, and this will inevitably affect the revenue. So that's why it's very important for them to hedge it. So this is always my favorite part, because new acquisition and new rejuvenation, which also means that it's expected to have increased yield in the future. As you can see, they have actually purchased 2 buildings, one in Malaysia, one in Korea, and they are also redeveloping a Singapore building at the cost and increasing the GFA by 2.3x, which is good, especially in logistics in Singapore is high in demand. However, every investment comes with certain risks that you need to take note of. For example, if you look at their lease expiry profile by geographic, which means that tenants that is expiring within which year. So if you look at for their financial year of 22/23 and 23/24, there is a green bar that is very high in value of 12.7% and 11.3% respectively. So these are in areas in China. Coincidentally, if you look at the stable occupancy rate slides, you can see that China has the lower occupancy rate and is dropping. So therefore, it's very important to take note and see how the management helps to increase the occupancy rate back. So this will be part 1 of the video. Please look forward to the part 2 of the video in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like what I'm producing in my contents, and please do your own research as well upon finding any interested REITs that you would like to purchase. It would really help if you could subscribe to the channel, give a like, and leave any comments on what are the things that you might want me to talk about in the future.